took her name beyond the palace gates, dressed her in gold and called it grace. The cedar halls were bright as noon, but every light still throws a shadow in the room. Mordechai stood where the poor men stand, dust on his feet, truth in his hands. He watched the riders disappear down every road, carrying death in the ink of a royal scroll. The city wore sackcloth like a funeral veil. Mothers held children and whispered prayers. The market stalls stood empty in the heat, and fear settled heavy on every street. Esther looked out through the lattice frame at a people marked for a nameless grave. And somewhere deep beneath the crown she wore, a voice said, "You were not brought here for comfort anymore." So she walked through the door no one walks through, past the guards, past the silence, past what fear told her to do. Her hand shook, her heart raced, but courage ain't the absence of fear. It's fear that says run, and faith that stays here. The king sat wrapped in purple and gold, a man with power enough to buy the world. Yet all his armies, all his wealth and fame, couldn't command 1 hour of sleep to come. The moon climbed high above the palace walls, the torches burned low in the empty halls, and while the empire dreamed beneath the stars, one restless heart became the turning of the cards. He called for the records, old pages, old dust, old stories nobody thought mattered much. A forgotten act, a forgotten name, a single loose thread in a massive tapestry. But heaven sees threads that kings don't see, and heaven remembers what history leaves behind. If those names had vanished into the sand, if those graves had swallowed every family line, the songs would have died before they were sung, the promise buried before its time. But long before crowns, before kingdoms and wars, a promise had been spoken beneath desert stars. A blessing for nations, for the lost and the least, carried through generations no empire could defeat. And on that night, while one king stared at the dark, the God of Abraham was guarding every spark. So she walked through the door no one walks through, past the guards, past the silence, past what fear told her to do. Her hands shook, her heart raced, but courage ain't the absence of fear. It's fear that says run, and faith that stays here. No thunder rolled, no prophet cried out, no sea was pried, no fire fell down. Just a woman who spoke, a king who couldn't sleep, and a God who keeps watch when the world is too blind to see. She walked through the door no one walks through, and the night gave way to a mercy nobody knew. The gallows arose for the righteous man, but evil fell by its own hand. The king lost sleep, a people lived, the promise endured. And because the promise endured, the light kept traveling through centuries, through empires, through Bethlehem, through a cross to us. The mighty write their names in stone, the faithful write theirs in the hearts of those they'll never know. And sometimes the fate of the world turns, not on a battlefield, not in a palace, but in the space between midnight and morning, when a king loses sleep and God does not.